Yes.
That's why I tell people the first 5 years suck, because all the pain, the lessons, the learning, the mistakes, the frustration, the lack of cash flow, it all happens in the first 5 years. And then you get to the top and you go, oh, I can see the horizon now, right? I don't have to repeat these same lessons. And yeah, getting to the crest at year five, or, 4.5, 5, 6, it's an amazing feeling, but you still have 5 years to go, right? You still got to
Right.
get to
Yeah.
the horizon. We are going to talk about how fast is too fast to grow your real estate empire. If you haven't seen, there are plenty of stories out there about people that had 22 units in 18 months only to crash and burn. This is something that I don't think we talk about enough. I understand the logic of wanting to go fast. I understand the sizzle and sexy. But folks, you want to build on a strong foundation. You don't want to build this big portfolio that's full of cracks on a loose foundation, because it can and probably will crush you. We're going to talk with somebody who built 12 or has 12 units over 4 years. And we're going to talk about, is that the right speed? Again, very personal discussion, but I think it is one worth having. All right, buddy. Build to rent, investing, and financial talk. Brandon, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great.
I think this is an important topic. I know there's, guys in our network who've done some discussions with about a young lady who built a portfolio of 22 units in 18 months, felt like a rock star, only to crash and burn. I understand in today's era about going fast, but if you're going to build a financial powerhouse, it's not about speed. To me, guys, it's a decade. It takes a decade. And some people just want to go faster. What do you think?
I think of even in the building process, people get impatient when it takes a while to get the foundation done and getting off of that foundation. But I've shared this before. You want the builder to take his time building the foundation right, because if it's not built right, it crumbles.
Yeah.
And it's the same principle with building this investment portfolio. I feel like it's actually gone very fast at 12 doors or whatever that is. Five, I can't remember now, 4 or 5 properties in 4 years. I feel like that's been a very good pace, maybe pretty fast.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking at the next couple of years. I feel like I'm within 4 years of retirement. I'm planning to get to just 20. I think that's the number I need to retire.
I love it.
And so this year, I've created a video on my channel just a few weeks ago looking at my personal financial statement, which I do at the December 31st. I do it the same process every year, versus 24 to 25, where I was December 31st. Grew a lot in net worth, have grown, just kind of reflecting back on the last 4 years. And it's good and healthy to do that. Would I do it different? What would I change? How am I, you're analyzing your entire world of your financial world. And I was looking at my cash and cash equivalents. And I came from a banking perspective. The healthy, if you want to say best practices, is to keep about 10 to 15% in cash and cash equivalents of your net worth. And so I was at little over 8%. And I also know what I've got coming in the pipeline. I said, this year I've got 2 properties that are coming online, one in about 45 days and one about 60 days behind it. So that'll be the doors 12, 11 and 12. You need to stabilize those. I think this next year I'm going to just maybe start 1 door because I have some land for 26 builds. I've got a 4-plex multifamily zoned lot and another single family lot. I've also got to save up cash for those to get started. So I think I'm going to slow down a little bit this year to build up cash reserves, taking it steady, stabilizing even all of these builds for a firm foundation for the next builds in 26. And I feel guilty. You hear that flashy stuff and you think, wow, I'm not making it.
No, I love this conversation because again, I feel it. I still feel it today, right? And you got to be level headed. You've got to understand where you are and where your story is. This is not a race you run to compare with anyone else. You've got goals, right? So you're going to be at 12 doors, stabilized. Let's call it by the summer. Then you've got you got line of sight to 5 more units in 26. What I just heard, that'll take you to 17. You could have your 20 units by 2027.
That's kind of what I'm thinking, because really all I have to acquire, if it's single family home lots, 3 more lots over the next 18 months. So I don't have to feel pressure.
Right.
It's getting to the right number for financial freedom.
That is the key. This is Dion. This is Coach Carson, is like, what's the right number for you? And I got to tell you, the more people that come into this conversation with the mindset of it's 4, it's 10, it's 20, the happier we're all going to be, right? This is not something, where you have to have 100 doors. No, if you can have the life that you want at 20, that's an amazing, freeing feeling. So I just want to encourage you to keep at it, and just discard that feeling of, I don't know, not being adequate or not comparing or whatever that is. You are on a tremendous pace and you should feel great about that.
And that's what I had to fall on, and fall on even the statement of your book, the one rental at a time. It doesn't have to be this massive growth. It's slow, steady, can still win the race.
Yeah.
Building a firm foundation. And you and I talked about 6 weeks ago. We had a question that I answered in the comments. It was 1.8 million of equity, not of the total value, but I built 1.8 in the equity. That wasn't the value of the total property. So that's a tremendous thing in 4 years also.
Yeah. And it's again, I don't know how else to say it, but the key to getting wealth is a 3-step process. The most important one being step 3 is it takes a decade. You need to be able to hold assets, preferably assets that produce cash flow, for a decade. And you can't help but get wealthy, right? Inflation's a feature, not a bug. I think, why am I drawing a blank on his name? Jason. Why am I drawing a blank on his name? Anyways, he talks about wealth destruction, right? Debt destruction or whatever.
Debt destruction. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's right. We in the United States are very lucky to have 30-year mortgages. Fixed.
Well, on that, I looked at last year compared to the year before. My good debt is leverage.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's debt that somebody else pays.
Right.
We paid down almost $66,000 on loans by other people.
Forced savings.
Yes.
Crazy.
And so, we feel the pressure of the flashy, the sexy, the big headlines, but slow and steady can be good and can be solid. Each of us have different perspectives. Each are doing a different path. And as I've gone in this and listening with our group in our channel group, there's no one path. There's multiple paths, and to be comfortable with who you are.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been said a lot, but the person who said it to me that kind of finally resonated, Pace Morby, talks about know thyself. And frankly, for the longest time, I probably wasn't comfortable with myself, right? Maybe I felt inadequate or, whatever. And I got external validation. But, if you're comfortable in your own skin, that is such an amazing feeling and freeing, just to know thyself and be comfortable with thyself. And if you can ever harness that, which I think I finally have, it is just an amazing, freeing feeling.
You're right. But I don't think, I agree with that, but I still have to fight it in me. being
Oh yeah.
comfortable. So do you have final victory? Well, I guess I haven't found it yet, but
No, you're always you're fencing. Is that a thing? Fencing with it? Yeah. It's always,
yes.
it's never total victory. I think it just comes up in weird times, but yeah.
Right. And so I've had, a lot of questions within the school group that you've created. It's been very valuable, and even questions that have come to me from some of the school community and trying to contribute to. It's a very valuable community that $20 is cheap. Yeah.
Yes. I can't, again, 67 pennies a day is it's just like, what do you, like, if you have any interest in real estate or getting wealthy, 67 pennies a day gets you around almost 400 people going the same direction.
Yes.
It's wild to think about that more people haven't joined. But yeah, it's fun to see people interact, learn new things, ask questions, post victories, post losses, get the free education, the community. It's amazing. You're going to, like, just you being a part of it, you're going to help people do infill lot development, which helps everyone. Right. Producing more homes. So
you're making connections and you're building relationships all over the country that, hey, I don't have to know everything, but I know Jared knows certain things. Ike knows certain things. Hunter knows certain things that if I had questions, that just on the relationship sides of those connections you make for different things. You've got Convoy, you've got all these different relationships. Those are valuable, not just the teaching on the school, that is valuable too, but it's even those relationships, making these connections that, hey, I've got somebody that does that. I can give them a call, or I can connect with them and ask them a couple of questions. Cause I think we have a group that are willing to give, willing to answer. Ike sent me something this morning. Ike Hobbs, he sent me something this morning, wanted me to look over it with him on because I've talked several times on personal financial statements. We're willing to give to each other.
Yes.
And that's valuable.
Yeah, no, we, my job is to make sure, we're all going the same direction to continually attract more and more good people. And it is wild how easy it is once you get kind of past the number 200 just to see good people attract good people. And I look at school every day and generally left smiling, because even I feel better just watching people share and grow and help each other. It's a wild place to be.
Yeah. So just kind of an update on these last two builds. I mean, I'm in the middle of 2 single family builds. What I've decided to do is to try to do a 50-50 split of small multi-family doors and single family doors. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do, is have about a 50-50. If I'm going to have roughly 10 doors of multifamily, maybe that's 3 multifamily properties and then 10 single family properties. That's kind of what I'm heading towards right now.
I like it. Again, that's again, you're thinking long term. You're basically saying, not only do I want 20 doors, but I want this mix because it provides the most, flexibility and long term
options.
Yeah,
options.
I like that.
And so we're finishing those up. One will be finished here in the next 45 days. I'm creating that series on my channel of walking through the videos, and I'm learning how to even do how to do a series. And you're thinking, okay, what's resonating, what's working? So I've gotten to where this, the last several parts of my series, I walk through the house trying to describe a lot of things. And then I do another filming back at the office right here on my whiteboard.
Nice.
And I walk through some of the costs on the different things that are going on, so that people can have context of, hey, what is a good price on something? I'm doing that. And then the next one will probably be the finished product, will be, because we're about 80% complete.
Nice.
And I think the final one will be, once it's rented, going through all the financials, kind of a conclusion. Here's the full circle. So I'm doing those things. I'm thinking of other things, of a couple of videos coming up on the strategy of the build to rent, of, wow, what if I could have 20% equity in every property I own from day one, buying it at a 20% discount? Because that's really what I'm doing. Right. But I'm getting brand new properties at a 20% off retail discount.
Yeah. Yeah, I think more. Again, I love what you're doing. I love the fact that you picked up the camera and you started documenting this. I think what you're doing in your little world is really going to impact others to think. Because again, creating value today is hard. Yeah. But if you understand, okay, instead of trying to find a cash flow, duplex or quad today, maybe all I need to do is go find a lot. And, lots you can sometimes get pretty, sometimes when you don't want a lot, you're willing to sell it pretty cheap.
Right.
And then, okay, well, now I got the lot owned free and clear. How do I go to a bank? This, that, the other. I think you're really going to show people that maybe infill, new homes or duplexes or quads is the right way to go today. And I just love that you're showing us.
And I've had a lot of questions on that. People have asked, why aren't you the contractor? And so what I did as an analysis on that, I have a builder, and you don't instantly have these. This is my third builder. So it takes a little bit of time.
It takes time, huh? It takes work.
Yeah. And not that the others were bad, but I found the perfect fit to finish up with.
Yep.
And his cost for me. And so what I look at everything is cost for my time.
Yep.
Where is the most effective? If I want to make, and I used to teach this, if you want to make $100,000 a year, are you doing $50 an hour work? Think about that. Yeah. If you want to make 300,000, are you doing 150,000 or $150 an hour work?
Exactly.
And so I'm looking at that. And if I were the general contractor on these, my builder typically costs me about $15,000 to build it.
Okay.
Well, I'm watching the time he puts in. It's about 15 hours a week where he's coordinating all the vendors, being there, checking, working with the cities, the utilities, the inspectors. I broke that out. And for about a 20-week build, that comes out at about $50 an hour. Well, I'm building them and instantly having about $60,000 in equity day one. My hours in it at most are 2 hours a week. So I said, that's better. I want to stay in the 30,000 foot view. Let somebody else do the work. I'll write the check, but I'm looking for my next acquisition. That's more valuable than being
without
working.
Question.
It's the principle is even from the E-Myth books, work on the business, not in the business.
Again, this is you're so far ahead of the game. It's impressive for me to watch you kind of rattle these off. This is a big deal. A lot of people see what you're doing and probably naturally just default to, I want to be the GC. The GC's costing me $15,000. But that is the wrong mindset. The GC is freeing you up from whatever 15 times 50 is, or whatever the weeks were. It's hundreds of hours. And again, the GC is going to see things quicker. It's going to have the relationships. It's going to reduce your risk. And your job, and I saw this as my job the whole time, was my job's to find the next deal.
Yes.
In your role, that's the next lot.
It's like, okay, if I did it, I'm saving the 15,000, but I'm missing the acquisition where I make 60.
Exactly.
15 versus 60,000. Which one do you want?
Yeah. And that's, in economics terms, that's called the opportunity cost. That's what that would be called. But I think it's even more than that. It's quality of life, right? You're on a path to 20 units and being good, but there's no reason that path has to be hard. I would think being a GC for the last 5 projects would be stressful and, risky. And it's just know thyself. Again, not my thing, right? It's just not my thing.
Well, I looked at it and I'm like, he's putting in that time at least about 300 hours into the project. I'm putting in maybe 40, maybe 40.
Yeah.
And it's things I enjoy. I've got spreadsheets on each property. I'm managing, hey, I want to make budget or see if I can beat budget and build it just a little bit less, but still similar quality or just as good a quality. finding where's the best return on my efforts.
Yeah, I think that's genius. And again, the beauty of what you're doing here, it's kind of the next level of a burr, right? Because again, you're getting the lot. And again, you make the value when you purchase. You've created the relationships, the repeatable process for development. And then you go refi, right? You take out construction debt,
Yes.
put on permanent debt, which is where you figure out how you did, right? Sometimes you have no money in the deal. Sometimes you leave some money in the deal. But again, that means you have cash flow. And you talked earlier, last year you had principal pay down of over 60 grand. You know, when you get to the end and have 20 homes, you're probably going to have $100,000 in
Right.
principal reduction every year. It's going to be wild.
Yeah, and that's that power of 10 years that we've all are seeing. And I'm just at the edge of cresting over the hill and starting to really come through it.
It gets fun.
And I can see it. And I'm not only just stabilizing, now I'm starting to really maximize those properties, but you only see it over time. The learning curve is so steep.
Yeah, and it's all front end. I mean, that's why I tell people the first 5 years suck, because all the pain, the lessons, the learning, the mistakes, the frustration, the lack of cash flow, it all happens in the first 5 years. And then you get to the top and you go, oh, I can see the horizon now, right? I don't have to repeat these same lessons. And getting to the crest at year 5 or 4.5, 5, 6. It's an amazing feeling, but you still have 5 years to go, right? You still got to get to the horizon. Yeah.
So it's encouraging to hear it from you and from Dion and from Mike and all. We're all kind of, there's in some ways it reinforces and encourages us all. Hearing all of us going through similar things, of us that are staying in it when it's hard, and you're thinking, why did I do this? I said I wanted to do this.
Yeah. What was I signing up for?
Yes, but it's been great. And awesome. I thought I knew investing coming from a commercial background, because I was the one underwriting everybody's loans. Mm-hmm. I thought I knew it until the last few years getting with this group. I've learned so much, and I brag about this group. And what I've learned, and said, y'all have got to get involved in this. I've shared y'all's channels with all my friends, and it's because I've learned and gained so much. And that's why I feel driven to give back too, because I've received, and that's how you keep fresh water. I always describe it as if water goes into something and it doesn't have an outlet, it gets stagnant. And I want to be where water is alive, is you have an inlet and an outlet. Mm-hmm. I want to be receiving, but also pouring into others.
Yeah.
So that's my perspective.
Yeah, no, again, this is just a value school. It's exactly what I envision. My job is to attract the go-givers, the people that are going the same direction. We have people in the group that have no units. We have people in the group with hundreds of units. And it's fun to see the positive interactions, the support, the networking. And it's still wild for me to think about. We've got 6 groups that meet weekly, and that we have 12 leaders, and I don't pay them, right?
They're doing it because they care and they want to give.
Exactly. That is so, it just warms my heart to know that, we put together such a good community.
And then we look forward to meeting each other in February.
Yeah, that's right. 22 days away, I think, or 23 days away.
Hopefully we're going to be able to, I guess we were handwrite it on there, our handles of our channels, because so many of us, and I always say, I blame Michael for this channel.
I plan to have some boards that people can put their channels on. I have some surprises up my sleeve as well that I'll hold back. But yeah, we're going to celebrate everybody that's got a channel for sure.
But it's been so refreshing to do this channel. I get more out of it than I ever thought I was. And it's getting deeper. I'm only 4 months in, but it's getting deeper of just the reason why I'm doing it. And I've learned so much in it. You encourage me to make it just real, genuine, and authentic. I don't edit. I make mistakes. I'm getting better each time. And it's been fun. And to get out of your comfort zone, anything worthwhile, you have to get out of your comfort zone. Comfort is the enemy of progress.
Yeah. I love that.
So
I love that. So one more time, what is the channel? Where should people go and subscribe to see all the amazing work you are doing?
it's Build the Number 2 Rent, Investing in Financial Talk.
Folks, it's right there on the screen. There it is. Build to the number 2 Rent, Investing, and Financial Talk. Thank you for being here, man. Keep it up.
Thank you.